Hey, what's up, everyone? Welcome back to another episode of Weekly Roundup. My name is Frankie.
I'm Ryan from the Coffee Break.
So, the Coffee Break is actually a daily newsletter that provides you with concise, important news of the day from Monday to Friday, right?
Yes.
Yeah, and if you're interested to keep yourself updated with what's going on around the world, not just in Malaysia only, remember to sign up to the Coffee Break in the description below.
Subscribe and get smarter.
Alright, today we have very interesting news to bring to you guys, right? From economics to politics and stuff like that. But the first news that I want to go into, recall in end of October, the government just announced Budget 2024. And one of the main topic was subsidy rationalisation, right? And part of this subsidy rationalisation is to take away the ceiling price of chicken and eggs. So on the 1st of November, the government has already taken away the first subsidy, which is the chicken prices.
Yep.
So previously, the government set the ceiling price at about 9 ringgit and 40 cents per kg. If you're a chicken seller, you cannot sell more than this price, put it that way. But from 1st of November onwards, this price is being removed. So technically speaking, now the prices of chicken follows the market forces. So if more people were buying chicken, then the price of chickens will go up and vice versa, right? But surprisingly, after the government took away the chicken subsidy, something interesting happened.
I mean, instead of price going up, as with all subsidy do, because a subsidy means that government is sort of supplementing the price of the product, right?
Yeah.
So when you remove the subsidy, right, it should have gone up. But it went down. I think some of the supermarkets even were selling as low as 7 ringgit per kilo or 750 per kilo. So I think it's quite a surprising move, because when you allow products to float, they follow the supply of. I mean, the price will follow the supply and demand of the market. And now it's probably a low season, that's why you're seeing a price relatively low, right? Because there's no festives other than Diwali that just happened. So so the prices of chicken didn't go up drastically as people thought it would. Maybe during Chinese New Year or during Hari Raya, you would see some price going up. But that is the beauty of a free market.
Okay, but when the government implemented this price ceiling and chicken subsidy and whatnot, right? If I'm not mistaken, I think the price tag of subsidy was 100 million ringgit per month. Right?
Yeah.
100 million ringgit per month.
Yeah.
So this is, I suppose, is an average price per month, right? Whether it is festive season or not. But now that the subsidy has been removed, but prices is coming down, does it also mean that actually the sellers are just taking advantage of this price ceiling to say that, hey, since the government put it at 9 ringgit 40 cents, right? So regardless whether it is high season or low season, that's the price that I'm going to sell.
Yeah.
And that's the amount of subsidy that I'm going to claim from the government.
Yeah.
And that's why the government had to implement such.
So
such
100 million
costs.
actually went to whose pockets?
Correct. And if you look at the share price of all these poultry stocks, it's not like they're doing very well. So good point over there. So where did all this 100 million ringgit went to, right?
So I think that's also one of the reasons why government, like you said earlier, want to implement a subsidy rationalisation plan next year, right? So Economy Minister Rafizi Ramli is tabling it to the cabinet by this month end, right? And there are 3 approaches that to sort of ensure that the rationalisation would not weigh down on the public and sort of prevent speculative inflation, right? So there's 3 approaches. The first approach is they will check how much money an individual has left after covering all the expenses, and then provide support based on that. So this is on an individual level. Subsequently, is to look at the surplus income of the entire household after they have paid their bills, and if they need help, they will receive it. The third method combines both to look at both individual and household income considerations, and it involves a subsidy implementation cut, right? So for the budget of 2024, the government has put aside 58.1 billion for subsidies and social assistance, slightly lower than this year. This year, I think they have budgeted for about 58.65 billion. So how do you see this happening? Which approach do you think is the best?
Let me recap a little bit. So there are 3 approaches here. The first one is based on individual. So if I'm individual, I have, let's say, 5,000 ringgit salary. After I spend all my expenses, if let's say I only left with 500 ringgit, so obviously I need some form of subsidies, right? So this is when the government will use this approach to give me some money. The second approach would be based on my household. So if I'm married, if I have 2 kids, then after I spend all the necessary expenses to my household, what is left, then if I need subsidy, then the government will give me subsidy. The third one is combined. Now this one is, well, the first 2 is already very complex, but the third one is a hybrid. So my individual income plus my household income, add everything together and see where is my income bracket, then the government will target me accordingly. Whether which approach it is, I think the implementation is going to be
Challenging.
hectic. Challenging is the right word. It is going to be challenging because number one, how would the government know how I spend based on the amount of salary that I get? And maybe I could have second income, third income, and whatnot. And maybe some of these incomes are not recorded into my income
that is
right.
That is for sure.
So that's one. And number two, if you're talking about a household expenses, a household income and expenses, then again, the problem is very huge. If my wife is earning more than me, and then she becomes the breadwinner of the family, and then once that is taken into account, does it still mean that I need or don't need that subsidy?
Because if your both income combined is then above a certain threshold that they set, but actually you need the subsidy, for example, then which part then plays? Like, I mean, not even husband and wife. I just think about family structure, right? If you're a parent, you're earning, let's say, in the 5 figures, but your kids are earning just fresh grads. Do they need it or not? Because they need sort of a subsidy to sort of start their life or to build the economy, to spend in the economy, right?
Correct.
Where do you find that balance?
And whether the parents would still continue to give pocket money to the fresh grad who is just earning like 2,000 ringgit for a start.
I didn't get that. I'm not. Did you? Once I started working, like we had to fend for ourselves. I mean, I'm not sure about kids today, but we had to fend for ourselves. So
correct. So I think implementation is still the key. How is the government going to implement rationalisation of subsidy? That will be the key to make sure that this plan work or not. To me, I think the potential of failure is quite high.
Yes. And I think we all need to be a bit more cautious with this as well. So the chances of it being successful is very low, right? But that's where the government needs to keep experimenting, having a framework that allows it to see it in fruition. So there's no best method. I don't think any country has done sort of like a best method sort of way, right? Unless you're giving in like how Australia does it, they would give money to their citizens, right? I think that is on an individual level. So what I'm trying to say is that the people need to give government a chance to see how this pans out. There's no one best way that fits all. Never, because there's 32 million, 33 million of us. We're not going to be happy. Someone's not going to be happy. Is it a T20 that's not going to be happy? Or is it a B40 that's not going to be happy? Right? We need to find... There is a fine balance. They could try the first method at the individual level. It may not work out. Because, let's say, at the individual level, I get subsidy for pumping petrol. Then everyone will use my card or use my car or use my name to pump petrol. Right? My parents can be T20 and they can just use my card or whatever to pump petrol. Is that fair?
Correct.
That's not fair, right?
Yeah.
But if I'm on household level, I don't deserve it. But my parents are earning a lot of money. I can't be using their petrol card, or I can't be using their card to pump petrol because I'm an adult. I need to pump my own petrol, but I'm not getting the subsidy. It's gonna cause cost crunch to my budget, every month budget, for example, right? So, and when you combine is, I think it's the next level. How do you combine and where do you draw the line? It's all for them to figure it out. We just need to be patient. If it's first time, people just need to be patient and see what works best for them. There's no win-win.
So talking about daily expenses and whatnot, right? I have one question for you. How much do you think is the comfortable amount for you to retire? You are around your early 30s, right?
Yeah.
So your early 30s means you are Gen Y lah.
I think Gen Y. Right now, I think 2 million is pretty decent, right? So if I count 2 million at 3% FD rate, not even EPF, 3% FD rate, right? It's going to be 60,000 a year in interest. And it's going to be 5,000 per month. At this point, if I have 2 million, okay, that's a pretty good level for retirement.
That's provided you don't want to start a family and whatnot.
5,000 for my own, right? So my kids, all that. And I still work, right? Because I can still work, but maybe not, don't have to work in such a labourers industry or whatever, right? I can still work, but I get 5,000 a month.
Well, you're thinking like a baby boomer, because according to a research by HSBC Quality of Life report, right, they're saying that baby boomers they think that roughly around 2.5 million ringgit, it's the comfortable amount for them to retire. But maybe because their kids are already grown up, so they don't need to take care of their expenses and whatnot. Probably you are thinking like that, right? For me, it's slightly more different because I have
kids,
I have 2 kids and I need to prepare for their education fund and whatnot. Based on HSBC Quality of Life report, they are saying that Gen Y, that means people like me, typically they think that about 4.9 million ringgit would be the comfortable amount to retire. But personally for me, I think 10 million is the right amount. Because you need to take into account inflation also, you know.
Correct.
When you say
Correct.
3% interest based on FD rate, right, your money is still shrinking. Because today
Very
we're talking
simplistic.
about inflation that is 5%.
Precisely.
So your real purchasing power has decreased.
Yeah, so that 2 million value goes down over time.
Correct,
right? And like I get the
correct.
3%, but that 60,000 may not, you know,
Correct,
may not
correct.
commensurate
So-
after all. So
Yeah, so to be safe for me, I think 10 million would be the amount that I'm looking at. So, but today I don't have 10 million. So,
another thing is that are these figures even attainable? Right. And having said that, this survey was done on the mass affluent Malaysians, that those who have about investable assets of 100,000 to 2 million. But I think a normal Malaysian having to even think about 2 million is such a
correct.
it's like
To have
it's far-fetched.
100,000 also very difficult, right?
Yes,
Yeah.
right. I mean, you look at EPF accounts. I think last year they probably revealed some statistics that not that many people have 100,000 in their account. Okay, we always talk about how money can make us happy or not. It looks like from the survey it can, because the survey also found that people who are financially fit, right, are 4.3 times likely to score an above average on mental wellness scale.
Oh,
Right, and it's also sort of like a chicken and egg kind of item, right? Like those who score above average on mental wellness, right, are also 1.9 times to be financially fit. When it comes to money, there should be a certain threshold first. So then you can be mentally fit. And then when you're mentally fit, then you can be more financially fit.
Financial freedom first, so you don't need to worry about money.
financial freedom first.
And then because you don't need to worry about money, then your mental state is also more stable.
You can take more risks,
You can
or
take
you
more
are
risks and
able
things
to
like that.
calculate,
Yeah.
what certain things.
And then because of that, you're able to make even more money.
Yeah. So the first hurdle is always that
Correct.
financial freedom.
Correct. We need to break that first hurdle first, lah.
Pause
More
first.
opportunity.
One thing that people need to do is to watch Mr. Money TV for all the financial advice that they give.
Then after that, the government is also doing their part. They're bringing in more FDIs into Malaysia. I think there's this news that says Malaysia-China Kuantan Industrial Park, which is in Kuantan itself, they have been attracting 31 billion ringgit in investments to the state. And out of this 31 billion, I think half of it has already committed and already built in Kuantan already. So we're talking about another close to 15 billion ringgit or so to be deployed into Kuantan itself, just in Kuantan only. So just imagine how much money local engineers could make, all these port operators could make by just involving themselves into that industrial park.
I passed it by recently when I went to Charating. Not bad. I mean, it's quite a huge park. It's right before Kuantan lah.
Yeah, correct.
But like I remember passing solar farms, maybe a bit further down. I remember passing solar farms. I passed the industrial park and was surprised that there is such a park there's such an investment in Kuantan, because Kuantan is not so central, right? It's not like in Perak or Negeri Sembilan, right? But yeah, I think it's well done. The government is doing this kind of initiatives to grow certain areas that there is potential for growth. Another investment, this investment, more from the government, not so much of an FDI, is HSR. HSR is back on the cards.
High-speed rail, yeah.
Yes.
So this project was put on hold because, the then PH opposition that time, they say that, it doesn't make sense to build that high-speed rail. You already have flights, you already have car. This is going to waste a lot of money from the government to build it. But it seems that right now they are trying to revive the project again. Not too sure whether it has got to do with
A bit sensitive. I don't want to talk about it. The 3R is a bit sensitive.
If you know, you know.
Yeah, if you know, you know, because there's so much history here. But because it's having said that, right, the KL Singapore flight is one of the most frequent flights around the world.
Yeah, it's the busiest route in the world, if I'm not mistaken.
Every day there is so many flights within just this 1 hour route. Rationally, the high-speed rail makes perfect sense. It will cut the time by half.
Actually, the wastage is the traveling to the airport and a potential flight delay. I think these two parts makes up all the time wastage. Because if you go to a high-speed rail, you just check in, move to the train, and then the train just moves, right? So it saves a lot of time from that.
And it would take about 3 hours, I recall. That was
90 minutes only.
Huh?
90 minutes.
Not even.
From KL to Singapore, 90 minutes.
That is crazy. Okay, that is very fast. Let's see how it will pan out. I think, so the government is in the midst of a request for information process. So they would then get the companies to bid for it. How are we going to do this? Are they going to realign certain stations? Likely so, right? Are they going to buy, they're going to begin the process of buying lands, tendering, and
maybe more stops in Johor,
Last week was a hectic week for the opposition party because we had an MP from PAS that then alleged Lim Guan Eng and the family is related to Lim Guan Yu. Do you know a leader named Lim Guan Yu?
Well, I think there are only about 100 over plus 200 countries that know this gentleman called Lee Guan Eng lah. But I think apart from that, the rest of the world maybe don't know who he was, and maybe better known by the name of Lim Guan Eng. I don't know. I myself become confused. I don't know what's going on right here.
Yeah, it's a bit bizarre. So what happened was there was a political speech by this Kepala Batas MP, right, that alleged that the Lim Guan Eng family, Lim Guan Eng, has family ties with Singapore's late Lee Kuan Yew, and also former Communist Party leader Peng. So it's a bizarre claim to just get votes. And of course, the folks at DAP, Lim Guan Eng, Lim Eng, did not hold back. Said, hey, we give you 48 hours to retract the statement. If not, we will serve you legal suit. Fair enough, because where do you prove the tie? First of all, the surname is not even right. Right. It's to come up with this kind of allegations and then again to win votes. Is it really fair? Is it to win votes even? Because I know Kemaman by-election is happening, right? If it's not even for votes, these allegations are so dangerous to the political scene in Malaysia because it's very fractured at the moment. To come up with such claims, it's just not what we expect of an MP. We want an MP to serve the constituents, to serve the people, not to come up with allegations.
My first encounter of this news is some MP made a statement in Parliament and whatnot. Then my first reaction was, hey, you guys in Parliament, you got nothing better to talk about, is it? Why you all need to talk about family ties and whatnot? But then when I went to look at the speech, the Kepala Batas MP speech, oh my god, I think that deserves an argument in the parliament itself. Because number one, you're talking about a leader of the country not giving the right facts to the people. Number two, you're trying to fan
the fire. This already like
correct. So what is her objective in this whole fiasco, right? So I think because of that, I think it deserves a debate in the parliament, and
certainly.
And I think these things has to stop, lah. If you want to win votes, win it with more pride and with more knowledge and whatnot, and not just
accusations, lah.
Not accusations and trying to twist the facts.
Tired talking about politics, but we have to continue. And we've got another politic news. There were so many Bersatu MPs that has declared their support for PM Anwar Ibrahim last week, right?
Yeah, so after GE15, PMX already secured his seat for the next 4 years. No matter what happens, the government is not going to change until the next general election. So that is set in stone already.
That should be the case, lah.
That should be the case already.
That should be the case.
Then recently there are more and more of all these opposition MPs. For some reason, they are pledging their support to the Prime Minister. I mean, that's good. I mean, that would give more confidence to the
current government,
to the current government to run and all that. But why are you doing it now? And what is the purpose of you doing it today? Are you trying to send a message to the people to say that, hey, this government is going to be even stronger in the next general election? Or is it trying to poach more MPs over so that when the next general election comes, it will put the opposition in a very bad position to say, hey, now I have even fewer support on my side. And what could they do and whatnot?
Again, I think it's all about to do with money, lah. Because what happened was, so if you're an opposition member today, you don't get development funds. Right? You don't get development funds for your constituency. There's some context to this, right? So back in Prime Minister Ismail Sabri's time, they signed a memorandum of understanding between Pakatan Harapan and also the former administration then that, okay, we will maintain this government as it is and we'll give you development funds. Today, that conversation still has not happened between the opposition and the government. That's why all these defections are sort of happening, because you need money to develop your constituency. As an MP, I think that's a very fair ask, right? So that's why all these MPs are sort of like, hey, the well is running dry, we need to pledge support, we need the money to help the people. In a way, they're good to trying to help their people, but bad in sort of their party, then it's bad.
Speaking of that, right, BN has been the government for the past 60 years. Which means to say the opposition never had that allocation from the government.
Because they have been so strong.
Yeah.
They have been so strong as a government. I mean,
No, so what I'm trying to say is that the opposition in the past, they never get a lot of government aids because the government was always Barisan Nasional, right? And they managed to pull it throughout these 60 years. Now that this this coalition has become the opposition, what are they doing on the ground to actually raise funds for their constituents, apart from just relying on government funds? Yes, I know that 60 years you have been getting government aid, so that has been an easy thing to do. But today, you're not the government anymore. You need to find your own money. Yeah, instead of finding their own money, now all they do is to pledge their support to the Prime Minister in order to continue to get allocation again. Yes, that is one strategy, but I feel not sure whether it is a good strategy for the long run, because what it means is that you will forever be held by the nose to pull you along to where the leader wants you to go. Is this the representative of the people that you want to vote for in the next general election?
Challenging, because it's also a point where like the government holds so much power to sort of influence whose support they want to get, right? Because you've got the government funds. So that when this government has so much power, I think Coalition of Clean and Fair Elections, Bersatu, also expressed its disappointment in PM over failing to ensure the equal distribution of this constituency development fund to MPs. I think they have a fair point in the sense that why does the government then hold so much power? So it's sort of like you're trying to accumulate your power through this dangling, like you said, like dangling to the nose, right? But at the same time, with what happened in the previous 4 years when there were so many changes in the government, it was so unstable, right? Because you can pledge for support anytime you want, right? I can pledge for support for you because you know what? I want to have a seat in the government. I want to have something happening to me. Then it takes time. I think politics in Malaysia is maturing. In a good way, it's maturing. So all these questions from like, let's say, it's good, it's healthy, it keeps the democracy healthy because we can question the democracy system here. But again, it's fun times. I think it's fun time. We're gonna see, maybe we'll see some more Bersatu defections coming in. Who knows? Yeah.
I think for politics, let's just leave it to the politicians to handle their stuff, right?
Let them worry about it.
Let them worry about it. Right? We come back to economic news. In a remarkable economic uptrend, I think Malaysia has done pretty well in the service sector as well.
Woohoo!
So apart from bringing in a lot of FDIs, we also improve in terms of our services. We have experienced a substantial 7.6% increase in terms of revenue growth in the service sector.
Not bad.
All the jobs like your lawyers, your engineers, all the service sector, even your waiters in the restaurants, they are considered service sector as well. Yep. All these are contributing to the Malaysian economy, reaching 584 billion ringgit in the third quarter of 2023.
That's quite good. I mean, maybe the growth could also come from the low base effect last year.
Yes, correct. Right. Because don't forget, in the past couple of years, we were all in lockdown, right? So all these people, all these industries were not firing. And then now everything has come back to normal already. So if you compare this year's performance to, let's say, 2020-21 performance, then obviously it looks very good, right? I'm not sure whether this report takes into account
adjust for
that pandemic years or not. That one not very sure.
The sector also not too bad. The sector employed 4.4 million people, 1.8% increase year on year.
Yeah.
So the economy seems to be quite healthy. People are going out, people are dining out again because you are free. You are free to go out, you are free to do, whatever you want. So there is something that's happening. Hopefully this uptrend continues.
Yeah, and salaries and wages are also increased during this period of time. But not sure whether you guys feeling it or not. If your salary has already increased, why not you tell us in the comments below. Okay, so that's all we have for this week, from politics to economics and everything interesting that brought to you by the Coffee Break.
Thank you. Thanks for having me, Frankie. Thanks for having the Coffee Break on the team. Thanks for also supporting our newsletter. If you like it, if you enjoy what you have seen today, do subscribe to the newsletter. Do subscribe to The Fact Show.
Alright, see you guys in our next video.
Thank you.